Che here, the No Spoon Podcast. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe and turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on the latest content. Also, like and share with as many people as possible. And if you got an opinion or something that you just want to add to the conversation, I want to hear about it down in the comments section. Until then, enjoy the video. So, Kyrie Irving has joined the Kanye West show. He has tweeted out some things, he has said some things, and he has become part of the whole melodrama that is Kanye West versus the establishment. We know about what happened with Kanye. He made some comments, he said some things, he basically called out the Jewish people. He said that they control the media, they control the entertainment industry, they control a lot of different industries and whatnot. We've talked about this several times on this channel, so you all know what happened. He got dropped from Adidas, he got dropped from Balenciaga, he got dropped from, what was the other one? Def Jam, I think, dropped his Good Music. He's just been dropped everything. I think he said he went from being worth 11 billion to 4.4 billion to now to 600 million. I think the latest, he said he's like $140 million liquid is what he's worth, right? So there's been the fall of Kanye West. A lot of people have rallied behind him. They're saying that some of the things that he's saying is true. There's other people saying that it's anti-Semitic. Obviously, he did put out the DEFCON 3 tweet, which is, that sounds, when you're saying something death and you just associating a certain people with it, yeah, you're gonna get that label. Kyrie Irving jumps in and he tweets out a link to a documentary called Hebrews and Negroes, and this documentary is available on Amazon. The documentary is 3.5 hours long. I personally have not watched it. I do not have 3.5 hours to give to a documentary just to find out if they're saying anti-Semitic things. I have talked to people who have seen it, and I've asked them their opinion, and these are opinions that I respect. And from what I understand, the biggest problem in this is that the whole basis of the documentary is to show that the people who call themselves Jews are not the actual Jews, right? That the actual chosen people of God are black people. So here's the thing. The main point of that is being the chosen people of God, right? The reason being is because in order for you to be justified in a lot of the things that you do, you have to have some type of divine favor, meaning being chosen by God, right? The Israelis, people in the existence of Israel is pretty much based on the fact that Israel is a state and it's a people chosen by God, right? So you can colonize that land, you can kick out the Palestinians, and I'm not going to get into that whole debate there, but this is the argument, right? That they're able to do something like that because they are chosen by God. So from what I understand, and like I said, I didn't watch the documentary. I have no plans on watching the documentary. It's just too long and I just don't have enough time. But based on the information that I received, that the main issue is that the documentary just says that these are not the real Jews. Now, people can do this all the time, right? I mean, we can talk. I mean, there's people that claim to be the original people of this land are not the actual Native Americans that you see here. You can talk about Europeans and where they come from. And I mean, these are debates that happens all the time. The problem with this particular debate is that we will never get to the bottom of it because that would require us hearing from God himself, and not in a sense of reading in a book and saying that that's the word of God, because that's debatable and we're taking man's word at that. We would actually have to see God appear before us. We would have to recognize God appearing before us, and then we would have to accept what he says as being fact. Obviously, that's not going to happen, right? There is no one-on-one interview with God that we're all going to sit down and watch on a Friday night on ABC News. Check out the 2020 special of Interview with God, and God's going to reveal who his chosen people are. It's just not going to happen, right? So going back and forth with this argument of who are the real Jews or Hebrews or children of God and all this type of stuff. This is like, you know, mental masturbation. It might feel good, but it's not getting you anywhere. It's not going to get anybody anywhere. Like it's just a ridiculous it's just a ridiculous thing to even get into. So, but that's the issue with Kyrie right now. Now, Kyrie, they were saying it was anti-Semitic, this and that. But here's the thing I find interesting is that the people that are saying that it's anti-Semitic have not demonstrated what exactly is anti-Semitic about it, other than the fact that they're not acknowledging that these Jews are the actual people spoken about in the Bible. That's what it comes down to. I haven't even heard anybody say that what makes it anti-Semitic is that they are not acknowledging the people that we call Jews, the people, and when I say Jews, I mean European Ashkenazi or Sephardic Jews like Mark Zuckerberg, Steven Spielberg, Leor Cohen. These are Jewish people that we recognize as Jewish people here in America, Jerry Seinfeld type people, right? Those people are the people that are in dispute here. So I haven't even heard anybody come and say that that's the reason. So I don't know, if you're going to accuse somebody of something, you need to demonstrate exactly why. If you're going to say that somebody's racist, if you come to me and say so-and-so is racist, I'm going to say why, what'd they do? And it just seems to me that this anti-Semitism label is similar to the racism label, which is similar to the homophobic label, which is similar to the sexist label, which is similar to any kind of label that's associated with bigotry, is really just, you don't agree with me, so let me throw this label on you, and that kind of skewers public opinion towards you and then favors it towards me. That's kind of what I see this as, right? So again, nobody has said anything about why this is anti-Semitic, but Kyrie, nonetheless, he was given the opportunity. He was asked about it. He said he's not apologizing for it. They've been putting pressure on him to apologize. Shaq and Charles Barkley were on NBA tonight talking about they need to apologize and call them idiots and all this type of stuff. And Charles Barkley was saying he should be suspended and so on and so forth. And then what happens is the Brooklyn Nets go ahead and suspend him for a minimum of 5 games. So I'm going to read you the statement. It's going to show up on your screen right here. The statement that the Brooklyn Nets released in regards to Kyrie. It says, over the last several days, we have made repeated attempts to work with Kyrie Irving to help him understand the harm and danger of his words and actions, which began with him publicizing a film containing deeply disturbing anti-Semitic hate. So let's stop right there, right? They have made repeated attempts to work with him to help him understand the harm and danger of his words and actions. Okay. We don't understand the harm of his words and danger of his words and actions. Like, we don't. Like, he tweeted out a link to a film. The film just says those aren't the real, Jews. How is that harmful? How is that dangerous? Nobody has explained that. If they explained it to Kyrie, maybe Kyrie should tell the rest of the world so that we can all get on board and don't say harmful and dangerous things to people. So I don't know what that means, right? It then goes on to say, we believe that taking the path of education in this challenging situation would be the right one, and thought we had made progress with our joint commitment to eradicating hate and intolerance. We were dismayed today when given an opportunity in a media session that Kyrie refused to unequivocally say he has no anti-Semitic beliefs, nor acknowledge specific hateful material in the film. This was not the first time he had the opportunity, but failed to clarify. Such failure to disavow anti-Semitism when given a clear opportunity to do so is deeply disturbing, is against the values of our organization, and constitutes conduct detrimental to the team. Accordingly, we are of the view that he is currently unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets. We have decided that Kyrie will serve a suspension without pay until he satisfies a series of objective remedial measures that address the harmful impact of his conduct, and the suspension period served is no less than 5 games. So they suspended him for 5 games. Until he satisfies a series of objective remedial measures. basically until he apologizes and does so in a way that we accept it. I don't know what he said that was dangerous and harmful. Nobody has laid that out, right? But of course, it's not too long afterwards, Kyrie released this statement. While doing research on Yahweh, I posted a documentary that contained some false anti-Semitic statements, narratives, and language that were untrue and offensive to the Jewish race/religion, and I take full accountability and responsible for my actions. I am grateful to have a big platform to share knowledge, and I want to move forward by having an open dialogue to learn more and grow from this. To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected by my post, I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary. I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitism by apologizing for posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or perpetuate any hate. I am learning from this unfortunate event and hope we can find understanding between us all. I am no different than any other human being. I am a seeker of truth and knowledge, and I know who I am. In other words, he broke it down, right? He didn't want to lose the contracts. He didn't want to lose the shoe deals, which now I think are being investigated by Nike, right? I mean, what he did, I don't know, right? A lot of people have done worse things. They've said worse things, and they're okay. Here's what I think about both of these, Kanye and Kyrie, right? I think this is all a show. I truly do. I think in the case of Kanye, right? I've said this before. I think that he thought when he reached a certain level of wealth that he was going to have a certain level of power. It doesn't work that way, right? I think he realized that his intellectual property, his ability to create fashion, his ability to create music, those are just ideas absent the actual infrastructure and machinery to bring it into fruition and to get it out to as many people as possible. Those are the people that have real power. We learned about that as well as in COVID, right? Because during COVID, there were supply chains, and a lot of the things that we need to make computer parts, a lot of the minerals and stuff like that, China has those. A lot of the pharmaceuticals that we need, the materials to make those, China has those. So that makes us dependent on China because China has leverage over us. Oh, you want these pharmaceutical drugs for your population so they don't get sick and die? You have to do what we say, right? So I think what happened is Kanye got to a certain level and he went, wait a minute here, I'm all by myself. They're playing a game amongst themselves, and I don't think that it's just Jewish people. I think there's a lot of people involved. It's just power and wealth and influence. Now, would I be surprised if it was Jewish people? Of course not. They do have a lot of say-so. They do have a lot of influence. They do have a lot of power. But is that wrong? That's the thing. That's the thing. Would it be right if it was you and your people with the power? You know, I'm just asking these questions here, right? Because I think what a lot of it is that, like I said, he's climbing the ladder, and the further up he gets, there was Jay-Z that said the same thing. The higher he gets, the less people look like him, meaning the less black people are. Okay, that's a reality, right? That doesn't mean that you can't get in there. That doesn't mean that you can't be successful. But people play those games. I've seen people play those games on a small level. You know what I mean? I mean, you come out here to LA and you look at the construction industry. Most of the people that work there are Hispanic. They hire other Hispanics. They speak Spanish on the job. It's not uncommon to run into people in the construction industry here in LA that don't speak any English. I've heard white people and I've heard black people all express the very fact that Hispanics dominate construction and all that. I've heard them say they don't want us because I'm white or because I'm black. I've heard that being said. People do that a lot in a lot of different spaces. When you get a job and then you get hiring power, you're more likely to hire somebody that you're familiar with. People hire their family members. That happens all the time, right? But I think Kyrie, and I don't know why Kyrie is involved. I think Kyrie just likes controversy. I think this helps his brand. It gets us talking about him and stuff like that. Um, I don't know if these people are consciously doing this stuff, but I feel like this is like a ritual that's more for us, right? And the reason I say it's more for us, see, we're always the problem, the people, right? Because we have a lot of power. We have numbers. That's huge. If we have numbers, then we have power. And the thing is that I think, and this is my personal opinion, I believe that this is going on to demonstrate to you, the people, that if they can come after Kanye, if they can come after Kyrie, what do you think they're going to do to you? I think this is another game that's being played mentally. It's another chess move, right? Chess in itself is of that making certain moves and getting certain position. And sometimes the move isn't what you think it is. And I think that it's the same as the people that make the systemic racism argument. I believe systemic racism exists. However, I believe that the people propagating systemic racism and the idea of it to solve it, I think those are the people perpetrating it. And the reason I say that is because when you tell people that you can never advance in life because the system only allows you to go so far based on the color of your skin, then those people internalize that and they never actually push to break past those barriers. I think that's more of what's going on here. I think that this little song and dance that Kanye's doing and Kyrie is doing is more of something, a mental game to be played on you, the people, to say, look, if they can come after Kanye, they can come after you. If they can go after Kyrie, they can go after you. And so you sit back, sit in your chair, cross your arms, and close your eyes and act like nothing is going on because you don't want that smoke. That's the reality. That's how I see it. I think these guys, and like I said, I don't know if they're consciously doing it, but the fact of the matter is they're doing it, right? They are. And I think this is more of some type of little ritual that they're playing out so that we can see it. And we can see, like they're calling this a digital lynching on Kanye West or on Kyrie Irving. Well, the whole point of lynching and the thing that they did during the lynching is they used to let the body stay there hanging or let people come out and witness it so that you would see the consequences of your actions. And I kind of think that's the same way here. If you speak out against this, now remember, Kyrie already had an issue earlier in the year over the jab, right? Okay, so now Kyrie's speaking out again, and next thing you know, he's perpetuating this same type of narrative. I'm just not buying it. I'm really not. I would love to think that some out of this, out of the trash and out of the gutter, some savior, some hero would arise, but I don't think that's the case. I think that the only savior or hero that you're looking for is right there staring back at you in the mirror. And yet instead of looking to that, you look outside of yourself, you look at other different things, and then you tell yourself, I can't speak out because if I do, I'm going to end up like Kanye, or I'm going to end up like Nipsey, or Young Dolph, or Takeoff. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of mental game that they're playing on us, and we're falling for it. I don't know, man. This it just doesn't seem right to me. It just doesn't seem right to me. I could be wrong. I would love to think that those guys are completely on our side, but they haven't been for a long time. Even Kanye, he goes back and forth. We don't really know where he stands. So, I don't know, man. I'm having a trouble saying that this is what it is, because I think it's more of what I said, that this is more of a ritual being played out for you so that you can see it, so that you can see that you can't resist. It's just, to me, it's just a lot of goofiness going around, and I wouldn't get too caught up in this, man. I really wouldn't. I think it's an interesting topic. If you want to debate on who the original Jews are, fine, go ahead. But until then, let's just start building. If you're going to sit here and complain about some type of cabal going on, let's just build our own. Let's get ownership. Let's get infrastructure. Let's start thinking along those levels. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Sit here and complain about it? Sit here and cry about it and say that, oh, it's not fair what they're doing? They're winning. However you want to look at that, they're winning. So get you some winning.